Awareness to what was outside of the temple went away. As the feeling built up, there was movement in the southeast, which I cannot explain from a physical standpoint. In the initial 5 sections, there was a buildup of a sense of power and stillness. First, I saw horizontal lines of color with space in between each. Yellow and purple, then red and green, then blue and orange, then black and white, then everything was like a vortex in layers of all sorts of colors. There was more to it, but I could not perceive it. And the colors extended beyond the mirror, but they weren't solidly funneling in the same way once you reached the mirror. And particularly with the Book of Spirits, I felt a movement, a pleasant movement, but a movement that particularly centered on the back of my head and neck. And I felt like there was a response to the names. And the last phenomenon that happened was like there was a female voice, very centered, but it seemed to move. It was in the center of the tetrahedron mirror stand, and it was in the center of this room of the temple. Some groups will build up the ideas of the temple so that you do not need the physical temple. Some groups will have portable temples somehow. The tarot cards or some other oracles may represent the universe in one way or another. There may be a more advanced setup, like having a box that you can travel with that can unfold and be assembled into an altar, like is mentioned in this book. They talk of a samadhi lamp, which is constructed in a particular way that you don't try to force your thought. Same thing with but not quite the same thing with the zero light lamp, in which you can direct actually where you're perceiving the light from. There's brief mention of the energy work with such devices, the sort of things that people use to charge things. Now, the tarot is not mentioned in what I'm reading right now, at least. I don't remember it mentioned in the book. It may have been at some point, but Like, people will rub their tarot cards with salt and sage and stuff that will damage the cards. Um, what you're doing shouldn't be that. The things that you use to condense or clean or whatnot energy, it should be the maintenance of the thing. And don't over clean to the point where you're wearing away and putting scratches and all that sort of stuff on your equipment unnecessarily, you know. Um, there are some earlier sources and some in between that could be brought up in terms of where the Goetia came from and how it might have developed. But this provides a reasonable list of texts that can construct the theory of how the thing came about. A snidbit in the Ars Almadel section, you know, that wax thing that you put the candles through that you have on your altar. I'm not sure if I have anything like that shown on my channel, but I did make a series of them, different variations of them. But there's a clue about what a purely one system sort would look like, and that's how they can, in one of the references in the old texts, and that's where the Church of Hermetic Sciences, the Ordo Templi Astartes, constructed theirs from. But sometimes one could say that there's a reason why one text recorded the tradition in one way or another. I'm not entirely certain that these names in the grimoires are barbarisms, right? Sometimes they're part of the experience. Sometimes things lose some things linguistically. I mean, particularly, how the Bible's made it through the generations. I mean, if they keep adding, subtracting, and changing the words and all that sort of stuff, it's not just making it understandable. They're doing other stuff to it, so they don't even believe in it. So what can we expect of the underground grimoires? But then again, people would intentionally try to restore things with some knowledge from somewhere else. And some of the information in this book here is along those lines. The Almadel is, you got 3 sections and 3 sections, 3 sections, 3 sections. So you have 12 total, and it would be arranged according to the cardinal fixed mutable signs of the zodiac. So that could put you towards the Jewish names for the zodiacal angels. Just like the Goetia, the Book of Spirits, Livre de Spirita, it has ranks of spirits, and 38 spirits, and Baal is called, with emphasis, Grand King. And there's, some descriptions. Not everything is in the manuscripts, but there's indication that at some point some of these things were, right?